On November the 19th of 2017 at around 2:30 a.m., employees of the Barcelona Wine Bar in northwest Atlanta, Georgia, were closing the restaurant for the night when 3 armed men stormed into the establishment. The trio, who wore masks and hoodies, were caught on CCTV near the dishwashing station as they were binding the hands of employees with electrical tape. They then took restaurant manager Chelsea Bella upstairs and forced her to open a safe. After she complied, one of the men shot her in the shoulder before he and the others got in their getaway car and fled. 29-year-old Bella was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital but ultimately succumbed to her wounds. The robber who'd gunned her down was identified as Carlos Bailey. Earlier in May of that same year, he and an accomplice carried out a similar robbery at the Pinewood restaurant in Decatur. The duo zip-tied 5 employees and stole their bags, phones, and cash from the restaurant. No major injuries were reported and the workers were able to free themselves after Bailey and his accomplice fled. Bailey was already booked into the DeKalb County Jail for the Pinewood armed robbery when he was charged for the fatal Barcelona Wine Bar robbery. His accomplices in the latter were identified as Terry Jones, Samuel Ott, and Ira Williams. By May of 2018, they were all in custody and all pleaded not guilty to charges that included murder, felony murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and kidnapping. Their trials went through various delays, but in January of 2023, they were about to face a Fulton County jury. Bailey struck a deal and was the first to change his plea to guilty. He admitted to shooting Bella but claimed to have done so by mistake. Bailey expressed remorse in court, maintaining that he'd only meant to rob the restaurant. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison with the possibility of parole. Ott and Williams were given the same sentence after they too switched their pleas, while Jones, the getaway driver, was given a 15-year sentence. Number 6. Herbert Redmond. In February of 2020, 2 co-workers at a Wendy's restaurant in Pearl, Mississippi, got into an argument that rapidly devolved into a physical altercation. During the brawl, 42-year-old Edward DeLawrence McWilliams brandished a knife and attacked 25-year-old Herbert Redmond. McWilliams plunged the blade deep into the other man's neck, killing him. Officers arrived at a chaotic scene and reported that other employees were visibly distressed. McWilliams was arrested for second-degree murder. He was working at the Wendy's as a convicted felon who'd served time in the Mississippi Department of Corrections for armed robbery and manslaughter. Pearl police revealed the knife he'd used against Redmond was not taken from the restaurant's kitchen. Another employee, identified by WLBT3 as Alice, reported that McWilliams had acted in self-defense. Alice claimed that tensions between McWilliams and Redmond had been brewing for months and that the latter had thrown the first punch. She told the media outlet, "It was all self-defense because Edward was protecting us, and I say he was protecting us because Herbert had a gun, a loaded gun at that." Alice noticed that Redmond typically kept the weapon in his backpack. As of the latest updates on the matter, McWilliams was held without bond at the Rankin County Detention Center. Number 5. Emily Russell. In September of 2023, Rosemary Hain was dissatisfied with her order at a Chipotle in Parma, Ohio, and started yelling at a teenage worker. Manager Emily Russell intervened and remade the chicken burrito bowl twice. The 39-year-old Hain was still belligerent and her rage escalated. She was recorded on video hurling the bowl in the manager's face, covering her in food before walking away. The order was prepared at 200 degrees and caused redness to Russell's face. The manager, who'd worked at Chipotle for 4 years, reported that she was left deeply shocked and embarrassed by the incident, to the extent that she quit her job shortly thereafter. 911 was called in the incident's immediate aftermath, and Hain was easily located as the caller provided Parma police with her license plate information, while her receipt showed her first name and phone number. Hain was arrested at her home. She subsequently apologized to Russell in court, but not before she seemingly doubled down on the assault by claiming that her food was disgusting looking. Judge Timothy Gilligan vehemently dismissed her attempt at a justification by saying, "This is not Real Housewives of Parma," and I bet you won't be happy with the food you are going to get in the jail. Hain pleaded guilty to 1 count of assault and was sentenced to 3 months in jail in early December. A few days later, in lieu of having taxpayers support her meals and housing while she was incarcerated, Judge Timothy Gilligan opted to try and teach her a sense of empathy. He asked Hain if she wanted to go behind bars or walk 2 months in her shoes, referring to the worker she'd assaulted. Hain chose the latter and was thus sentenced to serve 2 months through employment, working at least 20 hours per week at a fast food restaurant. Russell, who'd found another job in the meantime, reported that she was pleased with the sentencing. A number of internet users argued that Hain's employment would likely be a nightmarish experience given the attention and outrage generated by the food throwing incident. Number 4. Market broiler Karen. In the fall of 2021, a woman went on a rampage at a market broiler in Huntington Beach, California. A patron's video of the incident began with the woman mid-meltdown as she was screaming at a female worker that she didn't know what it was like to feel discriminated against and telling her, "You don't deserve your job." The incident took place during the COVID-19 pandemic as mask mandates were in place. The enraged woman, who was branded a Karen by the internet, slurred her words while screaming that the worker wasn't wearing a mask. She stomped around the restaurant, demanding to see the employee's vaccine card before she grabbed a cleaning product off the counter and repeatedly sprayed her in the face. She then took a paper bag with the apparent intention of putting it on the worker's head, but was stopped by staff and patrons. The woman continued marching around the restaurant, loudly threatening employees that they were going to be arrested for not following mandates. When another worker pointed out that she was also maskless, the woman got right in her face and yelled that she was vaccinated, resulting in a shove-in match. A female diner grabbed her hands and tried to get her to calm down, but the woman erupted and said, "Let's not be worried about the white people." The woman eventually left the restaurant, much to the apparent relief of everyone inside. While there were grounds for her to be arrested on multiple charges, it remained unclear if a criminal case was set in motion. Number 3. Fernando Medina Incident. In the summer of 2023, Mexican man Fernando Medina attacked a teenage worker at a Subway restaurant in San Luis Potosi. Medina was a mixed martial practitioner known as El Tiburon, or the Shark. On July the 31st, he became enraged after the employee had reportedly told him to wait for his turn to be served. CCTV captured Medina storming into the kitchen and relentlessly punching the teen in the face as a female worker pleaded with him to stop. While the brutal assault unfolded, another employee in the background tended to a customer and didn't intervene. The teenager was powerless against Medina's barrage of punches. He was beaten until he remained motionless and bent over the counter. Medina then low-kicked him in the leg from behind, placed him in a chokehold and took him to the floor, where he delivered several more head punches. The mixed martial artist fled the restaurant in the incident's wake. The teen suffered a broken nose and multiple facial fractures. The clip of the beating went viral, and Medina was taken into custody on August the 5th with a photo of the arrest showing him smirking while in handcuffs. Medina was initially charged with attempted homicide. He spent 4 months in prison and was conditionally released on December the 16th after the charge was downgraded to causing serious injuries. Roughly 8 months after he was arrested for battering the teen, Medina would meet a violent end. On March the 11th of 2024, he was standing near his vehicle outside a gym in San Luis Potosi when a gunman approached him and shot him dead. Photos that circulated online showed him lying on the street in a pool of his own blood. No arrests were made in the immediate aftermath, and it remained unclear if his execution was connected to the Subway incident. Today's topic was requested by Rhino20, Don Triple Beams, and Nikki123BXD. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Gabby Egan Incident. On a Saturday evening in March of 2024, TikTok influencer Gabby Egan violently lashed out at waiting staff during a night out in Nashville, Tennessee. 24-year-old Egan had started posting on social media after becoming pregnant in her early teens. And by the spring of 2024, the mother of 4 had over 4.6 million followers on TikTok. While Egan was at Rippy's Honky Tonk on Nashville's famed Broadway street, she bumped into a waitress as the latter was bringing food to a table. Egan told her, "You need to watch out," but before the waitress had a chance to reply, the influencer struck her in the face. She was consequently detained by security until the arrival of law enforcement. As reported by several witnesses, while the police were talking to the victim, Egan pushed another waitress and started threatening patrons and staff. After she was taken into custody, Egan persisted in her unruly behavior by brawling with the police. She headbutted an officer in the face, causing swelling to his lower lip, and then kicked him in the thigh. The Ohio-established influencer returned to social media on March the 18th, just 2 days after the incident. Many of her followers wanted to know more about the Nashville incident after her mugshot had been posted online, but Egan didn't comment on it. One of the users wrote, "Gabby is the definition of go on vacation, leave on probation." Egan had a similar run-in with the law in July of 2021 while she was visiting Las Vegas. On the 24th of the month, she got into a fight with police and security as they tried to remove her from the Cosmopolitan for screaming at patrons. The influencer tried to kick a guard and an officer in the groin, leading to her arrest on 2 battery charges. Users also commented on the discrepancy between her mugshots. In the Las Vegas one, Egan looked upset, while in her Nashville booking photo, she appeared to be pleased with herself. Number 1. Sha Bannon. 26-year-old criminology student Rachel Lomax and her boyfriend Tyler Egan were at a McDonald's in Widnes, England on October the 1st of 2023. The couple began arguing with some of the employees and were asked to leave. Restaurant worker Sha Bannon was in the back kitchen when he heard one of the arguing parties threatening to stab the other. When Bannon went to the front of the restaurant, he tried to assist a colleague in removing Egan. The latter allegedly attacked Bannon in the moments that followed, and they ended up grappling on the floor. The worker then felt repeated strikes to the back of his head before blood started running down his neck. Lomax had hit the man in the head with her cell phone, inflicting a cut that was 1.5 inches in length. Lomax and her boyfriend were arrested while Bannon was taken to a hospital and received 2 staples to mend the gash, which was described by a paramedic as quite deep. Lomax already had a 2022 conviction for racially aggravated assault, for which she'd been given a community order. She admitted assault by beating for the attack on Bannon. Her lawyer attributed her behavior to unresolved mental health problems, adding that she reacted emotionally and impulsively and is sorry for what happened. The woman was given a 12-week prison sentence, suspended for 1 year, in order to complete rehabilitation activities, do 80 hours of unpaid work, and pay Bannon £350 in compensation. Egan was charged with assault, but maintained his innocence, and his trial was set for June of 2024. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have the cooking skills of a pro chef or an incredible singing voice? Let us know in the comments section below.